Good morning 10th class. Welcome to the economics lesson, the sectors of Indian economy. This is your second lesson which we have started yesterday. Ma, yesterday I have given the introduction of the lesson. I have told you that we have the Indian economy is divided into three sectors: the primary sector, the secondary sector and the tertiary sector. The primary sector is also called as the agricultural sector, the secondary sector also called as the industrial sector, and the tertiary sector also called as the service sector. So I hope you are clear with the meaning, the basic meaning of the three sectors. Yes, and I've also told you that all these three sectors are interdependent on each other. They are linked to each other. Okay. The raw materials in the primary sector, if there are no raw materials from the primary sector, secondary sector will not work. If there are raw materials and there are no industries, then primary sector will not flourish. And these two are interdependent on the tertiary sector because tertiary sector is providing services. Okay, so you're clear till here. Yes. Now today let us go with comparing the three sectors. How three sectors are compared. Okay ma? Now before going ahead, let us first try to understand the concept of production in each sector. Okay. Now the people of the country are involved in many economic activities. All the people belonging to all the three sectors, they are involved in economic activities. Am I right? Yes. So how will you know how much each sector is contributing, or what is the total value of goods or services produced in one particular sector? For example, let us take agricultural sector ma. Okay, let us take agricultural sector. So in agricultural sector, rice is being produced. Here I am telling you, we need to know the value of the goods and services being produced in each sector. Then is it possible for us to count each and every grain which is being produced? No, na? It is highly impossible. We can't count what is the total value of goods produced in the agricultural sector in this way, counting each and every product which is being produced. Yes. So the economists, they have given a way. What did they tell us? See here. The economists, they told to consider the value of goods and services. What the economist said was, don't count the total number of goods and services, but instead consider the total value of goods and services. Okay, consider the value in terms of rupees. Okay, did you understand? In order to know the total production in one particular sector, instead of counting on the number of products which are being produced in that sector, you need to consider the total value of goods or services which are being produced by that particular sector. This was the suggestion given by this was a solution, not a suggestion. This was the solution given by the economists. So now see here. If 100,000 kgs, 10,000 kgs of wheat is produced, okay, is produced by a farmer and he sells it at rupees 8 per kg, okay, then the value of wheat will be 80,000. So this is the value of good. This is the value of good which we need to consider. Understood? In the same way, if you take the textile industry, suppose some thousands and thousands of cloth is being produced. Then each cloth costs some X rupees. Then X into how many meters of cloth is being produced gives the total value of that particular cloth. That value should be considered. Did you understand? So here the value of good in terms of rupee is to be considered. Okay. This was the suggestion given. This was the solution given by the economists when we are counting the total production. Okay ma? But the value of final goods and services should only be considered. So here say, here see the difference here. Consider the value of good and service. Okay, but here value of final good and service only should be considered. Okay, here also again they have given more clarity over here. Here they said consider the value of good and service. If we consider the value of good and service, then 80,000 will be the value of good and service. But what again they said, consider the final value of goods and service. We need to consider the final value of the goods and services which are being produced. Now again, what is this final value? Are you confused? Now let us see what is that final value. Here again same, 10,000 kgs of wheat was produced, ma. Out of this 10,000 kgs, okay, 5,000 kgs of wheat is being sent to mill. Is being sent to mill. It did not go to market. It went to mill. There, in that mill, what will the mill owner do? Here this wheat, the grains of the wheat grains, they are converted into flour, wheat flour, right? And in the process of conversion, this 8 rupees kg will rise to 10 rupees kg. Here 2 rupees, the mill owner, he has added an amount of 2 rupees to the actual cost of wheat, and then he sells it in turn. Again he sells it to whom? Here the farmer sold it to mill owner, ma. Okay, the mill owner in turn sells it to biscuit manufacturer. He added amount of rupees too. Maybe his profit, his manufacturing cost, everything is clubbed up, and per kg he added 2 rupees amount, and he sold it to the biscuit manufacturer for 10 rupees. Okay, ma? Now this biscuit manufacturer, what will he do? He will make he'll make biscuits directly out of the wheat flour what is available to him. Now that can be done, na? So what he has to do? To this wheat, he will add sugar, he will add preservatives, flavors, oil, etc, 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 and you get all those wonderful biscuits that you see or are available in the market today. Okay, now so by the time this mill owner sold that wheat to the biscuit manufacturer, he sold it at a cost of 10 rupees. Now what will become the cost? Will it increase? Because here the biscuit manufacturer, he has added many ingredients to the wheat flour. So obviously the cost will increase. So after all this manufacturing process is done, finally yummy biscuits are being manufactured. They are neatly, very nicely packed, and each packet is sold in the market at rupees 50 per packet. How many biscuits will be in a packet, ma? If it is a very nice biscuit, cookies something, only hardly 10 biscuits will be in a packet. So 10 biscuits they are selling for rupees 50 in the market. Now this rupees 50 is the final value of the final good and service which we have to consider. Understood this one? What is the difference between mere value of good and service and final goods and service? Understood, no? So this is the final product. Biscuit is a final product. You are not going to refine it in any other way. There is no need to refine it in any other way. You get a biscuit, ma. You are getting Choco Chips biscuits. Okay. After buying that biscuit packet, you can immediately eat it. Yes, you need not do anything. You need not add, mix, do that, this with that. You can directly consume it. Yes or no? So this is a final product. Final good means anything which is ready for consumption. Okay. Our dresses, the ready-made dresses which you buy in the market, that is a final good. Again, cloth is not a final good. Cloth should be changed, should be in some other way. It has to change its form in order to become a final good. So in this way, the final good is something which is ready for you to consume. Okay. So here the biscuit is sold for rupees 50 per packet. Okay, ma? So I hope you understood this concept of final goods and services. Understood, na? Now, why only final goods and services should be counted? Okay. Now here again you might get a doubt. See, along with this wheat, many ingredients are added in it, na? Then why aren't the values of these counted? Why only the price of the biscuit is counted? You may get it out. So that is the question here. Why are only the final goods and services counted? Why they are counted? You think today, I'll tell you tomorrow.